Hello, we're here to talk about three bad things about being a Disney cast member. My name's Stephen Porter. In the back is Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
And to the left is Craig Williams.
Hello.
So I will start off. My least favorite thing about being a Disney cast member was something called the merge point, which is where FastPass and the standby line come together, and merge into one.
Or as I like to call it, where heaven and hell meet.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to describe it because it is not fun. Essentially, you're stopping the standby line, letting the fast pass people go, and then vice versa. This, 50% of the time is fine because, that you can keep things in order. But on busy days, the fast pass line backs up, and then you have to keep the fast pass line fast, or at least you're trying to. Which then slows down the standby line, and so you have certain ratio of people that you let in, depending on how busy the park is or how busy
Or how
your
popular
line
the
is.
attraction is, yeah.
Yeah. So there can be times at Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, which is the attraction that I worked at, where you're doing for every one attraction or for every one person in standby, you're doing 10 people in FastPass. So if a family of 10 goes through standby, then you have to do 100 people in FastPass.
Yeah.
And you have the people. I've had people up to my face, inches away, like yelling and screaming, "How come you're ruining my vacation? How come you're letting all these people go? I just counted. You just let 100 people." It's like, well, yes, ma'am or sir or whatever. Like, this is what I'm told to do, and I'd even show them, the ratio that we had little cards that told you how many people you're supposed to do. And people.
Well, this is a reason why FastPass theoretically sounds great, but when it became too like a ride like Toy Story Midway Mania at Hollywood Studios became like one of the most popular attractions there is, and people are so angry all the time. Why is it a 2-hour wait? And I'm like, well, it's the FastPass is maxed out, so it's essentially 10 people for every 100 people, and sometimes less than that, and it just like. People don't understand it, and I understand that too because they're tired of waiting. And when it was the Legacy FastPass, the paper FastPass, the FastPasses would be gone within the first hour and a half of the day. So, essentially, it forces you to get there at Park Open if you want to do it, and they'll get mean. People will spit on you.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen. Was fortunate to never get
spat
upon or pushed, but I have seen people get pushed and have security have to be called and. So Merge Point can be like a really scary spot for a cast member. So with that being said, if you are at a Merge Point, just be cautious of that. But
it's a grander point of saying that it's one of the it goes without saying there are key positions in probably every single way you can work at Disney where you will just get yelled at ruthlessly and endlessly by guests, and this is absolutely one of them. It doesn't matter what attraction you're at. This is where you find out that there are some guests that will just never be happy no matter what you do.
They need someone to unload on.
If you work at a restaurant, it's probably a quick service restaurant. It's probably going to be if you're on cash register. If you're at a table service, it's obviously going to probably be if you're a waiter or a hostess or a host or hostess that, is causing someone to wait more. But guests are impatient all the time.
Yep.
And it's really hard when your job is to be patient and they don't want to be.
Well, and I was fortunate enough to be at Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, which is, a popular attraction. Maybe you have a 45-minute wait on average, but I can't even imagine the types of stuff that cast members have to go through that work at like Toy Story Midway Mania or Space Mountain or, some of the Seven Doors Mine Train. I'm sure it's insane.
At Lights Motors Action, the way the FastPass worked there is it was kind of like it gave you a window where you were getting let in before everybody else. So if you had the FastPass, you just came back from that window and you essentially walked in. So it didn't work the same way as other FastPasses did. And a lot of people didn't understand that. So they come back late with the FastPass and they'd be like, well, can I use the FastPass? I'm like, well, everybody's going in right now. Well, where's the FastPass? And I'm like, you don't need it. You got to go in right now or you're going to miss your spot. Or on like days where it was close to Christmas, if you're not there when you're supposed to be for that window, that's your only guaranteed time in. And it would fill up and close it, and people would they throw stuff at it, they throw it at you, and you try to explain it to people like, well, this is why we're doing it. Or as they go into the stadium and you're like, slide all the way down, they don't want to sit behind a pole, and so they get very mean. People are very mean sometimes.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't imagine working at like a show where people don't understand that they have to move all the way down. That would just drive me nuts.
That's why whenever I go into a state, I always just go to the end of the row.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please don't slide me the other way. But
what I usually do is if I'm the first one in, I'll walk like 3/4 of the way down, and then I'll look to see how many people are coming in, and if no more people are coming in and it's not that popular of a show, like Carousel of Progress or something,
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, I don't need to sit all the way on the end because this show's not going to get
Well,
full
here's
now.
the thing. If it's not full, just get up and move.
Move back, right.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like you, but I'm saying the other people who would like scream and start yelling. I'm like, there's an empty row right in front of me where nobody has slid over yet that you'd have an even better view than where you were originally sitting. But
Well, the picture of the average show at Disney, sorry, we've kind of sidetracked, but this is a good point. The picture of the average show, probably 70% of the people in the show are sitting on the side that you enter on because people do not go all the way down.
Yeah.
And then it's only that one half that gets full. But
Well, I actually, you know what? This is a good segue into mine
perfect.
to bring it around here. Is that mine is actually the lack of respect is one of my least favorite part about it. It's from the cast members, from the people that work there too. Sadly, some of my worst experiences actually came from the management, and I had some wonderful, wonderful managers. So I don't want to speak negatively on a whole, but I had a manager that was in charge, and they once said to me, nobody likes you as much as you think they do. And, and it was a very, this was somebody who clearly had something going on in their life that was affecting them negatively, or maybe they just outlived the time that they had worked there. You know what I mean? It had been too long. And they just didn't like what they were doing. And so they kind of took that out on us, and that trickles downward.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that kind of happens here that doesn't necessarily happen in like Disneyland is that because we have such a strong college program presence here, a lot of those people will get sometimes unfairly, not always, promoted. And some people are lazy, but they've just kissed the right person's butt, that they're in the right place at the right time. But then they don't want people that do more. They don't want people to outshine them. And so I worked in an area that was kind of known for having kind of that situation repeatedly happen for some reason. It's been restructured now, so it's not like that anymore. But and so it just is kind of like laziness begets laziness begets laziness. And then when you're somebody like, I can't not do my job. And I will always do my job to the best of my potential. You know what I mean? Like I had perfect attendance in high school. I am not somebody that doesn't, do what they're
you're not going to
told to
slack
do.
off.
Right. And that rubs people the wrong way sometimes. But the other thing is too, when you encounter guests, like I understand it's 110 degrees. I'm working at Disney World. You don't think I understand that when I'm not allowed to stand in the shade myself because my manager says I can't stand in the shade?
Right.
Because it looks like I'm being lazy by standing under an umbrella. Like you remember that there's a story on both sides of the road. It's not just your story. It's the person you come in contact with. And I am one of those people where I believe in manners, because manners is how you want people to treat you. So I always say, hello, how are you? Or how's your day? Or something like that. And I smile, and so you don't come at somebody the other way.
Yeah.
So if you do encounter a cast member and they're a jerk, legitimately a jerk, I'm not saying be polite and nice to them, but I'm just saying let's just respect each other. We all understand it's 110 degrees in the summer. It's humid like nobody's business. It feels like you're being smothered to death by an electric wet blanket, and we're all in this together.
Well,
like the High School Musical song. So let's all be nice to each other.
I'll kind of go off of what you're saying and just say that you can have good experiences with 80% of the guests, but if there's 10% or 20% that tick you off and are trying, like it seems like they're intentionally trying to just get under your skin, it can derail the whole day and make you have a horrible day. So that's the other tough thing, is that even though most guests can be fine and be great and friendly and nice, it's like that small percentage that can be just ruthlessly mean and angry and just for no reason, just want to make you have a horrible day.
It's easier to fall down from your happy place than it is to climb up and get there.
Yeah.
So just remember that when you're going to unload on somebody.
I also have another story of, with cast member problems. I had a coordinator that had a power trip similar to some of the ones that it sounds like you had, where I was, only working there for maybe a month at this point, and I had this coordinator that didn't like me. I didn't like him, and kind of people knew that, not like a ton of people, but he came in, and I was working at load 2 at Buzz, which is basically the guy that closes the doors and has the control panel in front of him. And the cast member came in, and he was like, "Oh, I heard you don't know how to use the control panel very well." So he just stopped the ride for all 200 guests that were
Oh
on
my
it,
God.
or 200 vehicles that were on it. And he was like, "Okay, show me how you can do it." And I did it. It was fine. But he was like I don't know if he was like trying to embarrass me or what he was doing, but it was like, if a manager saw that, they would have been so pissed at him.
Yeah.
Because he just ruined efficiency, all these people trying to ride the
So
ride.
I'm just saying, the respect goes everywhere.
Yeah,
It goes everywhere.
It's not even. Yeah, it's not always between guests and cast members. Sometimes it's between cast members and cast members.
Well,
You gotta leave your crap at the door if you're a cast member.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter where. I mean, that doesn't matter where you work. It's anywhere
No,
you
true.
do that, and that's kind of the worst thing about being the cast member. It's the same as whether you're a cast member, a team member, at Universal, at SeaWorld, restaurant, hotel, anywhere. It's that you learn the behind the scenes stuff that you didn't want to know. So, and when we talked about the perks, I said, like, it's great to see the behind the scenes stuff, have those experiences where it's like one-on-one by yourself at night, and it's amazing. Well, then you also, with that, you get the dark side too, where you find out, like, for me, working at Forbidden Journey, with the knowledge that every single seat in every single ride vehicle there has been thrown up all over.
Ew,
Which, granted, it's
Yeah.
always cleaned, and it's cleaned to the best of the abilities that you can do to clean it. But still, every single one has been thrown up on. And the worst part is when you need a vehicle back on a bad day, you clean it. It is 100% clean. You spray it with air freshener to get the smell hopefully off, but it still smells. And you have to
Like, put somebody in it.
put someone in it and hope that they don't
goodness.
come back saying, "I think someone threw up," because that it's not. But it's moments like that. I mean, the same thing would be at Test Track when I worked there, and looking down at a seat, which most of us have been on it, I guess I should say. There's nothing more disgusting than finding a female hygiene product on the floor
Oh.
when you do that, and it's like, okay, well, that is going to the maintenance bay. And they are going to deal with that.
Oh, goodness.
It's those encounters that it's not necessarily one-on-one with the guest. You always feel sympathy for the guest when they're put in situations like that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm worried I'm going to ruin some of the effects and the illusions." No, that stuff it's cool to see how they do it. And then once you're back on a ride, it's like, "Oh, wow, that is how they do it."
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of actually adds to it. Anyone who says that it takes away from it, they're wrong, and I will argue with you the entire day on it. The worst part is knowing those gritty details. We've all
gross.
heard the story behind, you're walking down through the utilidors and you see two Disney princes making out with each other, or you see Cinderella smoking a cigarette, and and you're like, okay, you start to be like, these people really aren't like they are. They're going to go upstairs. And then they're going to be like, just in their character. And it's like, and that's the hard part too, being like, holy crap, this isn't all, this is all just an illusion of sorts.
It's very Jurassic Park of you right now.
Yeah.
You never had control. That's the illusion.
That's a good point. That's it. But
the flea circus.
that's one of the things that's bad about it, is you realize that it is a world that outside of your control.
I would say I would put a lot of emphasis on that Disney World part of it too. It is like this beast. Think about what keeps this thing in motion.
Yeah.
It can't just stop. You know what I mean? So it's one of those, like, it's always turning. I don't know. It's a crazy thought.
Good point. I think that'll do it for our the 3 bad things about being a Disney cast member. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below and what you thought was interesting about what we just said. Thanks for watching.